Welcome back to Call Me Airsoft's channel, and in today's video I'm going to show you how to disassemble and upgrade your Marui AK trigger box. This has been on my schedule for a while, but I never really got around to it because, well, I just didn't see the need for the reinforced parts, and because there's no steel BCG at the moment, so there's no real need for upgrading parts, but you do need to get into the trigger box to upgrade your trigger. If you want to swap out the original Russian style trigger for a ALG or the EKG trigger by Hephaestus. But I'll show you the easiest way, or rather the most risk-free way of doing it. And in the process, I'll also point out some of the springs that we use in the trigger box if you want to upgrade your trigger weight as well. So just getting into it. So just stripped the AK. This is an AKX, so it does cover off, the recoil guide off, and the VCG out. And that gets you to the trigger box. But before you can actually pull it out, you have to get rid of your trigger, the firing selector as well. So to get rid of the firing selector, let's see, and you reset the firing pin lock and just send a hammer. Yep. Once that's done, you can rotate the safety all the way out and just pull it. That's out. And that should give us access to trigger box. But before you actually pull it out, there's also the retaining pins, the false false trigger firing control group cross pins, which are retained in trigger box itself. I say false because they don't actually retain any of the FCG parts. The parts are not running on the axle. So those are two cross pins taken out, and that gives us access to the trigger box. And slowly pull it out. I usually just grip the hammer and guide it out. Oops, that came out really quickly. So that's your trigger box, and I'm just going to set the AK aside because we're not going to need this for now. And that's your AK trigger box. And before we actually get into it, I would take out all these springs, externally accessible springs, so that we don't lose them later when we're just pulling bits out. So let's start with this side. So once you pull it out, this exposes the trigger spring, the half coaxier spring, and the firing pin lock spring. So I'm just going to pull them out individually. And also know that these springs have been upgraded personally, so I have a much heavier trigger for those that don't already know. Same thing, just pull out the trigger, pull out the springs one by one, and then set them aside. So that's two springs. I'm just gonna remember that, make a mental note of that. And that's the firing pin lock spring, and that's that side. On the other side, turn it over. You should have access to the this is auto sear. Yep, that's the auto sear spring. And right now it's in a compressed state, so what I am gonna do, actually, let me just think. Yep, I'm gonna drop the, oh wait, yeah, I can't pull the hammer back because there's also one spring in the back. That's the safety lever spring, so I'm just gonna pull that out as well. This is also exposed, so carefully just pry it out. Yep. So that's the safety lever spring. And the safety lever should also just, yep, safety lock comes right out just like that. And this is not a part that we can upgrade. Right, so right now I should be able to pull the hammer back. Yep. That decompresses the auto sear spring partially, which I'm going to pull out right now. Carefully. Actually, no, the whole auto sear comes out just like that. Auto sear, spring. So that's still externally accessible. And then one more spring. It's the firing pin spring. So this too is externally accessible. Just get your tweezers or craft pliers, your hobby pliers, slide it in there and try to catch that spring. There we go. That's the firing pin spring out. And that's all the externally accessible springs removed. Next, we should be able to get into the trigger box. And so we flip over to the right side of the trigger box, and let's see. I have Phillips screwdriver, and just remove all 3 screws here. Is that okay? It's way too big. It's one out. Unscrew. Second one. And that's all 3 screws taken out. And I'm going to slowly part the 2 halves just by lifting. And nothing should pop out, I believe, other than a hammer. Yep. So that's a hammer. And that's our 2 halves of the trigger box. Take note, on the hammer there are these 2 rings. These rings are the retaining rings for the false cross pins. So you don't want to lose these, and there's one on each side for the hammer, I believe. Can't remember, but let me just get that out first. Oh, that's one. Let's see. Half cock sear out. So parts we don't need are here. And then firing pin out. Oh, I forgot the firing pin lock. That needs to come out as well. So I'll do that right now. Don't know if you guys can still see this. Yep, you can see this. I should be able to pull this out just like that. Oops. Yep. So that's the disconnector out, and that's the disconnector spring, which I upgraded. So that's that. What else? And here I see the other half. This is the, yep. This should be the other retaining ring that sits in here for the other cross pin. So that's that half taken care of. And now I get into hammer. This I've actually never done before, but just gotta be careful about that. So hammer is on an axle. Yep, slowly coming out, I think. No, it's stuck. Let's see. I'll try pulling on it. No, it's stuck in there. I wonder how. Is it just friction and tension alone? Or... oh, I see. Okay, so to actually pull the hammer out, you need to depress it. And pull. Yep. It's out. So that hammer is being retained by the auto sear groove. That's a way of saying it, the proper way, correct term. And that's taken out. And I believe there's a pin in here. Okay, so that's a hammer and a hammer spring and a hammer axle. I'm gonna get a smaller pin punch. Oh wait, I could just see if this works. This should also come out. Come on. Yep. So here's the retaining pin for the hammer. Oof. I'm gonna get a pin punch so I don't damage this. Right, so this is a 1.5 pin punch. I gotta push that out. Yep. So it's just a pin, and that's a hammer hammer strut. Let's just call it a hammer strut. And that's a hammer out. That's all the parts we need to replace. Right, and now I'm gonna do that in reverse. So let's see. I have my hammer, BowMaster hammer. First part in. And I have no fucking idea which way it goes in. Because I forgot to take a mental note of that. Okay, let's see. Hammer slides over, I think, like that. Yep. So hammer, 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 hammer. How the hell does that go in again? Oh god, I don't remember how to get around this. Hold on. This better be the right way up because I see this strut. I didn't take a mental note of that. Oh my god, don't tell me, BowMaster. You piece of shit! Yep, it's a little bit too tight, and I don't know if it's going in. Yep, it won't go in. Fuck me. Right, I'm going to stop the video here. I'm going to go off camera and try to enlarge the hole or maybe smoothen out the pin a little bit. Be right back. Alright, I'm back, but I haven't done anything yet. So right now I have a pair of calipers. I'm just going to check the sizes of the hammer strut pinhole against the original one. So the original one measures 2.7, I think. 2.7, very right. And the BowMaster aftermarket replacement measures 2.5. Fuck me, that's way off. Pin 2.6. Right, so this is fucking off, and I believe I'm gonna have to drill it somehow, or Dremel it. Yeah, that's under 2.6. No way that's going in. I'm gonna check if I have a 2.6 millimeter drill bit, and I'm gonna just drill that out. Be right back. Okay, guys, I'm back, and I'm fucking done. Fucking BowMaster and their bullshit again. This hammer is definitely off spec. If you want to install this hammer, this steel reinforced hammer from BowMaster, you need a 2.6 millimeter drill bit. Exactly. Not 2.4, not 2.8. You need a 2.6 millimeter drill bit, because trying to fix this using a round needle file, it just won't work because of a long shaft. So both ends are off spec. You need both ends to measure 2.6 through this hole and 2.6 on the other end, because the pin has to sit inside the shaft. Okay, so this was drilled wrong by BowMaster, and I'm telling you that now. Okay, so don't try to force this shit. You need to fix it yourself before installing the hammer strut crosspin. So back to where we were. Right now I have fucking hammer, the strut, and I'm just gonna put them through. Through just like that. I'm gonna hammer it because it still doesn't fit correctly. and it still isn't flush, and there's nothing I can do about it because this is just manufactured wrong. Fucking pissed. See, the thing is, the Japanese are so precise. Japanese precision. When it was in the original hammer, you didn't even see that there's a pin. I didn't even realize that there was a pin right there. It was just completely flush. BowMaster, you can see that it's protruding so ever so slightly. Maybe 1 micron, whatever, but it's still there, and that worries me, so... Fucking bullshit. Hopefully that fixes it. BowMaster, if you're seeing this, you better replace me a fucking hammer strut, reinforced hammer strut, and a hammer strut pin, because your shit doesn't fit correctly. Period. And because it doesn't fit correctly, I'm so worried about the friction, I'm gonna apply some extra grease on this area where the hammer sits. Just more grease. Hopefully it works. And when I open this trigger box the next time, I won't see a goddamn scrape mark. Fuck this shit. So hammer. Push it in. Come on. Okay, I need to compress the spring first, then push it through. Oh, that's a... Oh, I see what that is. Okay, so... There's a blocker. There is a hammer strut blocker. Right there. Flip it over. That's a blocker piece. Square piece with a protrusion. Put that back in. How the hell? Okay. Pull the spring back. My hand. And press it in. Okay. So you just need to press it in because the hammer strut just sits on that blocker, sits on top of that blocker, so you need to push it in like that. Okay. That's 1/2 done, I think. And that's the crosspin groove 1, 2. So those two washers rings sit in these 2 grooves. Leave them there. What's next? Okay, this connector and the trigger. So that's my Hephaestus ALG style trigger, and that's my slightly upgraded spring. I need this connector. I bought it, right? Here we go. This connector, they call it a sear. Wrong terminology. Still, oh fuck, I dropped the spring. Where was I? Disconnector, stock disconnector in a bag, and we're back in the bag. Right, disconnector. Sits in there. Just fuck me. Oh, it's bone dry, so I'm gonna grease it a bit. Side beat trigger itself. Okay, that's the trigger and disconnector. Just pop it in as such. Yep, that's back in. Done. Next thing, disconnector. Sorry, not disconnector. Half-cock spring. Half-cock sear. Half-cock sear? Half-cock disconnector? Just call it a sear, I guess. Half-cock sear. So this is a redundant sear safety disconnector by Marui in case your magazine is running low on gas and it basically only cycles halfway. It holds the BCG in place so that it doesn't discharge that last round when it's empty, close to empty. And let me just think about this. So it should sit, yep, sit like that underneath the trigger. And more grease. And actually I should apply more grease on the axles themselves, but just for demonstration, yep. Right, so that's in, and let's see. Firing pin. Firing pin. Firing pin just sits in here, here, yep, here. Again, grease this mofo, both sides, everywhere. It's okay to apply too much grease, but it's not okay to apply too much oil. You don't need that much fucking oil. Right. So that just sits in there, and I believe I'm done. And I basically have to put both ends back together. The retaining rings are on that side, so I'm going to try to flip this over on top without dropping any of these bits, I think. Or I'm going to try, yeah, firing pin, I'm going to try to sit, yeah, firing pin here. This connector could be moved over side, that side, I think. Yep. Just flip it over. Nothing's falling out. Nothing's falling out. Just align them and don't do this to me. Hold the hammer down a bit and try to secure both ends. I believe that's just the, yep. Okay, hear that click? That's both ends. Put back together. Flip it back over to the screw side. I'm going to replace the screws, and I do have with me some Torx bolts instead. which I ordered as replacement. So if I know I've actually worked on this trigger box. So 2 Torx bolt through here. Fuck me, they're too long. Okay, never mind. So Torx bolt out. Screw me. Yeah, so 1 mil too long. I'll get rid of that. Because the Japanese are so precise, ensure everything that you've replaced are flush and not sticking out, because one protrusion and things don't play nicely. And I swear to you that it will wreck you. All right. So these were M3 by 16. You need M3 by 15, or file down or grind down the screw if you wish to get the right size. I'm not gonna do that on camera. And place all 3 bolts, screws, side. Yep. Okay. Right. We're back to externals, and we have the auto sear. Actually, I'm not going to replace that first. I'm going to replace the safety lever. So, safety lever back in here. How did I didn't get that out? One of these things are not like the rest. I actually can't remember how to put that back in. Oh well. How the hell? Oh wait, there we go. Right, so this is so awkward, but right. Note to self: next time, probably replace the trigger. Oh, the redundant safety first. Or actually, no. Yeah, never mind. I got it in. Just need to get the angle right. Yep. So that's replaced. That's the redundant safety lever replaced. I'll do the auto sear lock. So what I'm going to do right now is the firing pin lock. Firing pin lock. Firing pin lock in there, and I believe this was a spring. Yep. Wrong. That was in the spring. Should be this one. This one? That one? Oh god. Oh wait, no. That's right. That's the auto sear spring. So Firing pin lock. Yep. If it was the wrong spring, oh no. And now the auto sear. Alright, the auto sear is a little bit tricky, but what you need to do is you plop that in, and you need to depress the hammer and lock it. Reseat the spring and guide the spring in. I don't like doing this. Or, let's just see, that's under tension, right? Oh, that's not under tension, so when... Yep. So I dropped the spring. Let's see. Trigger spring. Right, trigger spring. Right. Auto sear. More grease before I put it back in. More grease. Seat the auto sear spring in the groove like that, and try to guide it in. Guide it in, find that axle. Okay. Put a hammer back, yep. That's in. Mind you, this spring likes eating itself a lot, so just be careful when handling that. And right, so I swapped the firing pin spring and the firing pin lock spring around. Just get replaced that. Yep. So that goes back in there. Firing pin lock spring in. Firing pin spring. It shouldn't be floppy. Firing pin lock. Pull it down. Yeah. Firing pin lock. Down. Yep. Now firing pin spring in. And again, guide the spring in until it finds that detent. Yep, so that's the springs replaced. And I think I'm done. Yeah. So that's the half-cock sear spring in. And I'm going to try upgrading my trigger spring even more than before, so that's now a 20. Yep. Right, that's all back together, and I'm going to put in the receiver, see if it works. Oh. Seems to work. Pin. Now what? Yep, we're good. And that's how you replace your Marui FCG internals with the BowMaster set. I fucking hate this. So if you're replacing this, make sure you have a 2.6mm drill bit to rectify the issue on the hammer, reinforced hammer, because it measures wrong. The original groove from the Marui hammer is 2.7 millimeters, with a pin size around 2.6. The BowMaster hammer measures just under 2.6, so it won't fit without that fix. Okay, and that's it.